Now, the between and validation rule is often called a range check. And what we mean by that is you put a restriction on the lower and the upper value that you can have in your field. Now, between and validation rules tend to be used with numbers, whereas you may have watched the OR validation rule video before where we use that with separate values, normally text. Between and is where we have a range of numbers that have a particular order to them. The between and rule is very good where you may have a field in a database that is a price, or a rule where, for example, you might have a value of time that you do not want people to go beyond. And it just so happens in my database I've got two of those things. I've got the length of a session, which cannot be more than 150 minutes or 2.5 hours, and I've also got the price of a session, which cannot be more than £20. So I'm going to show you how to do the between and rule for both of those. So as with all rules, it starts in the design view. So if I click on design and select design view, I'm going to go to my first one, which is length of session. There it is, there's the number. And I know that the maximum length of my session in minutes is 150 minutes. So I go down to the validation rule and I literally type the word between. And then I put my lowest value in this case it's going to be 0. And then I use the word and then I type my highest value, my upper value. In this case, it's going to be 150 minutes or 2.5 hours. And then what I can do is put in validation text. Now remember, this is the error message that would come up if somebody put in a value that was not between 0 and 150. So I'm going to say, sorry, you must enter a value between 0 minutes and 150 minutes, and I'm just going to put brackets 2.5 hours. Now please remember to check your spellings and your punctuation when you put the validation text in. That's done. If I click off, my message has gone in, so I'm now going to save this validation rule, and as always with validation rules, I get my message to say it may well impact on what data I've already got there. I know it's okay, so I'm going to click yes. So let's go and have a look at my data. Click on the data sheet, and at the moment all my data is fine. So let's just test out my validation rule. Let me just move this along for you. So I'm going to change this one here, and I know I cannot have more than 150, so I'm going to change that to 180, 3 hours. Press tab to move along. And there you go. I get my message says it must be entered between 0 and 150 minutes, 2.5 hours. Let's click OK. Put that back to 120. Press to go out, and there we are. So that's it for that value. What about price? Well, I can do the exact same as before. Click on the design view. I can go to price. Remember, currency is just a specific type of number. Click in my validation rule, and then my classes can be free, which is £0, and up to £20. Notice I don't need to put in the pound sign, that's just a label. And then I can put in my validation text. Sorry, the value must be between, and then I can put in my pound sign, and I'm going to use decimal places, and £20. There we go. Press save to get my message. Press yes. Let's go into the datasheet view. Just move along a bit so you can see this better. So let's try it instead. I'm going to change this £5 and I'm going to put in £50. Let's press enter, and there you go. Sorry, the value must be between 0 and 20. Click OK, delete that and go back, and there we are. So there is the between and validation rule. As I said to you before, best done with numerical values.